Simple and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues, as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Mugasha, did you see the game last night?
I slept looking for a receipt. Up to now I'm still looking for it.
What kind of receipt?
There is a certain receipt. I need to file my returns. I'm trying to find it.
By the way, do you know these guys of URA asked for 3 million from me?
Me, I paid 500,000 only.
You mean you pay only 500,000?
Yes.
They asked for 3 million. Why am I being asked to pay more?
I don't know.
You must know. We have the same level of capital, same rent, same premises. We even meet the same expenses. Why am I being taxed more?
I don't know. But for me, I sent my income and expenses via the URA website.
So they are punishing me because I did not send that through the website. Mugisha, you know these things. You know the type of expenses we go through here.
I know. But how will URA believe you if you don't write them down or keep records for your receipt as proof for your income and expenses for your butchery?
Mugisha, you mean you write all these things down?
Yes, I do. I write every detail. You see, the good, the amount, and the person involved.
But where do you get the time to write all this?
Immediately the transaction is done, or at the end of the day. But at minimum, I must know the income and expenses for each day. Otherwise, it is very easy to forget or confuse.
So, this is how your tax is being reduced.
Actually, it automatically shows me the tax I have to pay without reducing my business capital. It also helps me not mix my business money with the money I get from the garden. Aha. Do you know that this book is showing me that you haven't paid me the carton of soda I advanced you last month?
Mugasha, you also remember that?
Yes. This book helps me to remember every detail about this shop.
Mugasha, guy, you know things and you don't even tell me.
You didn't ask. Try it. You'll thank me later.
Let me first deal with the customer.
But wait, don't forget to pay the URA tax in time.
I won't. I will not.
Okay.
Uganda Revenue Authority thanks you for paying taxes. Thank you. Tax
Capo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Capo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Capo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URA's Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues, as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Mugasha, did you see the game last night?
I slept looking for a receipt. Up to now, I'm still looking for it.
What kind of receipt?
There is a certain receipt. I need to file my returns. I'm trying to find it.
By the way, do you know these guys of URA asked for 3 million from me?
Me, I paid 500,000 only.
You mean you pay only 500,000?
Yes.
They asked for 3 million. Why am I being asked to pay more?
I don't know.
You must know. We have the same level of capital, same rent, same premises. We even meet the same expenses. Why am I being taxed more?
I don't know. But for me, I sent my income and expenses via the URA website.
So they are punishing me because I did not send that through the website. Mugisha, you know these things. You know the type of expenses we go through here.
I know. But how will URA believe you if you don't write them down or keep records for your receipt as proof for your income and expenses for your butchery?
Mugisha, you mean you write all these things down?
Yes, I do. I rate every detail. You see, the good, the amount, and the person involved.
But where do you get the time to write all this?
Immediately the transaction is done, or at the end of the day. But at minimum, I must know the income and expenses for each day. Otherwise, it is very easy to forget or confuse.
So, this is how your tax is being reduced?
Actually, it automatically shows me the tax I have to pay, without reducing my business capital. It also helps me not mix my business money with the money I get from the garden. Aha. Do you know that this book is showing me that you haven't paid me the carton of soda I advanced you last month?
Mugasha, you also remember that?
Yes. This book helps me to remember every detail about this shop.
Mugasha, guy, you know things and you don't even tell me.
You didn't ask. Try it. You'll thank me later.
Let me first deal with the customer.
But wait, don't forget to pay the URA tax in time.
I won't. I will not.
Okay.
Uganda Revenue Authority thanks you for paying taxes. Thank you. Taxes.
Capo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Capo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Capo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URA's Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
The taxi there.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues, as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Mugasha, did you see the game last night?
I slept looking for a receipt. Up to now, I'm still looking for it.
What kind of receipt?
There is a certain receipt. I need to file my returns. I'm trying to find it.
By the way, do you know these guys of URA asked for 3 million from me?
Me, I paid 500,000 only.
You mean you pay only 500,000?
Yes.
They asked for 3 million. Why am I being asked to pay more?
I don't know.
You must know. We have the same level of capital, same rent, same premises. We even meet the same expenses. Why am I being taxed more?
I don't know. But for me, I sent my income and expenses via the URA website.
So they are punishing me because I did not send that through the website. Mugisha, you know these things. You know the type of expenses we go through here.
I know. But how will URA believe you if you don't write them down or keep records for your receipt as proof for your income and expenses for your butchery?
Mugisha, you mean you write all these things down?
Yes, I do. I write every detail. You see, the good, the amount, and the person involved.
But where do you get the time to write all this?
Immediately the transaction is done, or at the end of the day. But at minimum, I must know the income and expenses for each day. Otherwise, it is very easy to forget or confuse.
So, this is how your tax is being reduced.
Actually, it automatically shows me the tax I have to pay, without reducing my business capital. It also helps me not mix my business money with the money I get from the garden. Aha. Do you know that this book is showing me that you haven't paid me the carton of soda I advanced you last month?
Mugasha, you also remember that?
Yes. This book helps me to remember every detail about this shop.
Mugasha, guy, you know things and you don't even tell me.
You didn't ask. Try it. You'll thank me later.
Let me first deal with the customer.
But wait, don't forget to pay the URA tax in time.
I won't. I will not.
Okay.
Uganda Revenue Authority thanks you for paying taxes. Oh, thank you, taxi payer.
Capo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting, and invoicing solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Capo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliliza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Capo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URA's Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Good morning, Uganda. My name is Moses Male, and you're welcome to another very lovely Tag Day. Tag Show is an acronym of the Tax Alert Generation. Now, today, we are here to talk taxation. But mainly, before I even talk about taxation, is the importance or the main cardinal objective of this show is to improve or increase youth inclusiveness in taxation matters. This show gives youth an opportunity to dissect all issues in taxation, to also hear their view. What do they say about taxation? And ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about small and medium enterprises. But of course, just a brief on small and medium enterprises. Small are increasingly, they are becoming the backbone of the economy, employing of about 2.5 million people. That is about 90% of those employed in the private sector. Now, according to the URA statistics, that is the first quarter URA performance, we have SMEs contribution breakdown with wholesale and retail contributing to 1.3 trillion. That is about 30.1%. The manufacturing sector contributing 1.7 trillion. Financial activities, in there we have something like mobile money contributing 353 billion, and we have ICT contributing 338 billion. Before we even go any further, I would want to ask a very, very, very simple submission from our panelists. We are going to start with Michael Masembe. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Moses.
Morning
Our viewers.
For those that don't know, Michael Masembe is the grandfather of the tax societies. The three of us are generations from the tax societies. We are here because Michael Masembe had to make it happen. That is why we call him our grandfather. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Masembe.
Thank you, Moses. I'm glad to join every viewer and every other panelist in this discussion where we are trying to dissect the issue of incentives and then SMEs. You see, the design of tax incentives has been largely to grow the domestic tax base. Okay, there is what we lose, but to grow the domestic tax base. And the incentives in the context of taxation have been to minimize the impact of taxes on the SMEs. And now the question that you raised to me is, what is that SME that you are looking at?
Exactly.
Yes, the SME that we are looking at is a small business taxpayer. Okay, in the context of this discussion, we are looking at a small business taxpayer, who we have also called a presumptive taxpayer. But this taxpayer also,
in simple terms,
yes,
for the youth that are watching,
yes,
who is a presumptive taxpayer?
A presumptive taxpayer is that guy who is making sales of 10 to 150 million in a year.
Okay.
Okay, 10 to 150 million sales in a year. You are a presumptive taxpayer. Now, if I break it to a day, your sales could be around 27,000. If I were to break it to a day, 27,000. You're a presumptive taxpayer. Your sales are lingering around that and above, then you are a presumptive taxpayer, regardless of what you are dealing in, by the way. Regardless of what you're dealing in, you could be into a garage, into a saloon, it could be a restaurant. But there are exclusions to this if we are looking at that specific presumptive regime. If you are into, for example, provision of public utility services, if you are a public entertainer, you know most of our youths, and that's the context. I mean, it's the crowd that we are. Anyone you see in comedy, music, drama, if you are in public entertainment, however much you would like the tax regime to look at you as a small business taxpayer, it is required that you look at yourself as the through the general tax regime. And so the small business taxpayer. So SMEs sit around that category. They cut across sectors with exclusions that I hinted on.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael, for introducing small and medium enterprises. But still, coming back to you, our topic today is our tax incentives stimulating the growth of SMEs. Michael, coming from the Uganda Revenue Authority's perspective, what are some of those incentives that Uganda Revenue Authority has introduced to see to it that these SMEs are facilitated?
Okay, to answer the question straight, yes and no. Okay, and given that this is a discussion, I hope I will have the opportunity to get into the yes of it and the no of it.
Definitely, they're going to fire you the
questions. Yes. Now, are the incentives really driving SMEs as we look at them? Where the incentives have been designed and there has been uptake for those particular incentives, you've seen growth. Where the incentives have been instituted and there is no uptake, the situation has remained as was, okay? Regardless of the government having put itself in a scenario where it has to forfeit revenue to put that cushion in place. Regardless of us having it at the back of our mind that when some of these changes come in, it has at times administrative implications on the URA as a tax administrator. Okay, so we have to redesign, reprint, rebroadcast to create awareness on that new incentive, and if it is not taken up, the cost is actually double. We are losing certain revenue, and at the same time we are spending more to create or to in an effort to create awareness about it, because an incentive that is not taken up, it is a big loss. It's a big loss. So it's a discussion that we can have.
Uganda Revenue Authority is providing a solution to people who don't want a solution or they don't know about the solution.
Uganda Revenue Authority is actually supporting in the implementation of the solution, because what we need to appreciate from the onset is incentives are policy regimes. Okay. And the policy is outside the confines of the mandate of Uganda Revenue Authority. Now, the biggest question for URA would be, how effective is Uganda Revenue Authority in implementing the incentive regime as proposed in the policy documents? For example, if there is been an incentive that has been given to guys in cottage manufacturing and so on, how easy or what are the administrative processes that URA is putting in place to make sure that those who would be beneficiaries from the incentive access the incentive?
Michael, could you list some of the incentives that are being given to the SMEs?
Okay, yes, not specifically actually SMEs, but let me focus it on the SMEs. It's across sectors. You could find it in transport, you could find it in hotel, you could find it in tourism, you'll find it in education, you'll find it in financial, okay, like you can see the SACCOs, there is that exemption on the savings and credit institutions. It could be in trade. There are elements like industrial building depreciation, okay? There are incentives like initial allowance. Okay, though you cannot claim for these two that I just mentioned in 1 year, one has to come after the other. There are provisions for carry forward losses. Okay, there are provisions for people who are dealing in investments. Now, this one hits a bit above, but those who are in investments that mean agro-processing, investments that mean exporting over 80% of what you produce regardless of the amounts. If you are into certain sectors like health and you've met a certain capital of around 600 million, you get it? Now that comes with a certain precondition, but you can benefit from them, and if you apply for that particular incentive, you will take the benefit that the incentive gives. So those are there.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, you always saved the best for the last. And the actual reason as to why we are having the very last two panelists come in is because this is the reason as to why we have this show. The show is premised to them purposely. I want to introduce two panelists. One, a seasoned entrepreneur, and the other, a seasoned attorney. I don't know if we might end up in court after this show, Michael, but whenever I see attorneys, I tend to freak out a little. But then I will start with a seasoned entrepreneur. Ivan, a financial year is premised on the theme sustainable internationalization for inclusive growth, employment, and wealth creation. As a very young entrepreneur, where do you envision the small business with reference to what Michael has just highlighted? But before you even come in, just give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Oh, well, thanks very much, Mr. Mario, for that opportunity. Basing on the topic we are discussing, I would take this opportunity to introduce myself as the first thing. My name is Akamp Ivan. I'm the proprietor of the startup Cell Connect Uganda. What is Cell Connect Uganda? Cell Connect Uganda is an initiative I'm starting on to bridge the connection of the markets from those sellers, from our poor people who are there, who are not accessing markets because of the online era that is coming in. There are people who are there in Rukunjiri, people who are there in Kabale, people who are there in Kanungu, and they have the goods. They are in agriculture, they are in manufacturing, in anything they do. So the main goal and the main vision is bridging the connection between those people to the people who are in need. There are people who are in Kampala, there are companies who are in Kampala. They are looking out for those commodities, for those services, but they really can't access them. Let's not go far. Let's go here just downtown. When you move downtown, people have their stock, people have their goods, and they really can't access the market. A point in the case came in when this COVID-19 came in and showed them, taught them a lesson that online presence is something we the youth we are to embrace to be able to support each of the business aspects. People were not able to access any of the downtown stores, but as people who had embraced online presence, we are bridging the connection from the people who have the stock and they can't avail it to the people who are in need of it. So this is where the vision of Cell Connect Uganda is going. Coming back to the main theme we are talking about, I will briefly talk about an SME to the perspective of Uganda Investment Authority, Mr. Michael. Under Uganda Investment Authority 2018, they classify an SME in these basic three ways. One is a micro enterprise. Micro enterprise is seen as an enterprise employing 4 people, up to 4 people with annual sales or annual total revenue not exceeding 10 million. That's a micro enterprise. All of those 3 categories are included within an SME to the perspective of Uganda Investment Authority. Then when we talk of a small enterprise, this enterprise that is employing 4 to 49 employees with total sales or total revenue turnover, annual turnover, between 50 but not exceeding to 100 million. Then when we talk about the medium enterprises, these are enterprises that employ 50 to 100 employees, where with total assets or total revenue turnover, I'm talking about annual revenue turnover, and that is 100 million but not exceeding 360 million. So basing on the incentives Mr. Michael has highlighted, it is a very big opportunity for us, especially youth who are joining business, who are starting up initiatives, to take up those incentives as opportunities to embrace the new future, and we build and we contribute to the economic growth. So on the incentives Mr. Michael has highlighted for us, I see a big opportunity for upcoming SMEs and those that are existing to develop themselves. Where in this aspect I see opportunity of diversification in investment. When he talks about agriculture, I recall about how all of us, the youth, we are born from, our backbone, we are raised from agrarian families. Our country being an agrarian-based economy, as you know that 20% of GDP of the economy is raised from agriculture. So we can take upon those incentives as opportunities to start on businesses. If you see that they have maybe given an incentive, they have reduced, they have waived import duty on importation of agricultural fertilizers, can you think of importing those fertilizers and supplying to our poor people in farmers in the villages who don't know about these incentives? As you know, there is a very big knowledge gap between the people who need these incentives and the people who are the people who need, who are to use these incentives, and the people who give them. So it's us, the youth, who are enlightened about these things, to take upon those opportunities and enlighten people where we come from and start up some businesses. So there is a very big opportunity in the agriculture sector, as most of incentives are based on agriculture. There is an opportunity in beekeeping. When you're importing beekeeping materials, there is no anything like import duty or VAT that is charged. Talk upon horticulture, feeds for poultry. Many youth have seen many youth starting up poultry farms. So do you know about the incentives that are available when you do the importation of the feeds you need in your poultry farm yourself? Well, this is something you should get informed about, and you take an opportunity to grow and to contribute to economic growth.
Even summarize up your submission.
Okay, thank you. Let me summarize. There is then another thing we are foreseeing in the opportunity of the incentive that have been provided by the URA. There's reduction in compliance burdens. These things of if we have been waived of maybe a tax relief, you won't surface any hindrances in doing your business due to reduction of compliance burdens. Then there is relief of short-term liquidity problems, where to this perspective I look upon the government putting a tax COVID relief fund in some of the banks. These are the opportunities some SMEs can embrace, and they have a relief on short-term liquidity problems. Thank you very much. That's what I can highlight about the incentives and how I see the vision of them helping the SMEs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ivan. I did not know that while I was introducing an entrepreneur, I was also introducing a politician. The man can talk, let's be honest. But amongst the highlights that he was talking about, and this is a reminder to Uganda Revenue Authority, that is tax education. People do not know about the tax incentives. I don't know if they even know they exist. Some people put the blame on Uganda Revenue Authority, and yet it's supposed to be elsewhere. Uganda Revenue Authority is doing its part. But moving on to our Attorney General, let's have him have his opinion and see. What is the main understanding, before we even go any further, what is the main understanding in the legal perspective of an SME, small and medium enterprise, legal perspective?
The legal perspective of SMEs in Uganda?
Yes.
Well, we need to first appreciate what amounts to a legal composition, the legal framework. The legal framework of Uganda is built on the Constitution, and that's Article 152 that provides for taxation. It says all laws to do with taxation will be handled by the Parliament. However, still the same Constitution under Article 79, it allows the Parliament to delegate powers, like the Parliament delegates powers to URA to make those rules. However, still the Parliament must approve them before they come to become legal law that is in practice. So it's not only the Constitution that contains these laws, it's the Constitution, legislation. When I say legislation, I mean acts of Parliament. For example, the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, the Tax Tribunals Appeals Act, very many acts to do with taxation. So the question is, does Uganda really have a framework to guide us on tax incentives? I expect people ordinarily would want to see a special book called tax incentives.
And then they can read and say, on page 1, I'm allowed to do this. I cannot pay a tax for this. It's on page 1. But literally speaking, these incentives are really provided for in all the laws I've talked about. Take an instance of the Income Tax Act. It has most of the laws. It's actually composed of incentives, but people can't appreciate this. When you look at Part 4 of the Income Tax Act, specifically, for example, Section 21, it provides for exemptions. Kinds of money or kinds of persons that are exempted from the income tax. For example, when a person is setting up a business and then you incur expenses of training, let's say you're training staff, they've been quite informal, you're trying to teach them about the online thing, so you might incur expenses. Those expenses are exempted. That's already an incentive. Okay. When you look further from section, let's say 22 of the same act, Income Tax Act, to 33, you notice that there are very many incentives therein. For example, the costs that are used by a business, an SME specifically, to bring about income. For example, you paid transport somewhere, generator fees. Let's say you're having a saloon, you paid for petrol somewhere to refill the generator, to work it out. Those costs are forgiven. They're all incentives. When you look at some money such as allowances, food you give the staff members, meals, bad debts, losses carried forward, all those things are incentives provided for in the Act. I'm approaching how the legal framework is. And also, not only the Income Tax Act, several acts, for example, also the Value Added Tax Act, it allows persons, and also it's part of the domestic regulations and policies, persons who, people are, in case you're really performing low, you're having a turnover less than 150 million, you can tender in, you can reapply to URA and you're taken off the basic system of charging. Then you go for a cash basis. But though Uganda has a very nice composition of laws, Uganda is one of the richest countries with laws. Though we have all of that, it is hard for these things to come to practice because people don't want to read.
Just to step in a minute, your submission is a bit confusing, so I would love to ask you a question.
Carry on.
Are you trying to say, what are you trying to say exactly?
What I'm trying to say
is, do you think the legal framework for granting tax incentives and exemption in Uganda is supporting SMEs, or is it not supporting?
It's perfectly supporting.
Perfect.
Perfectly supporting.
Okay.
There are very many incentives contained in these various acts. But the problem, of course, it is supporting, but we don't look at it supporting theoretically. We look at it practically. Practically, it's not doing it because people don't want to read. People don't want to look for these things. That's why you might find that if you're to give a loan, if a bank gives a loan to maybe an Indian, an Indian is given 100 million, as well as a Ugandan 100 million. They all invest maybe, let's say, in spare parts. After 10 years, it is very hard for you to find the Ugandan performing like the Indian. Because Indians, it's in their culture. They read ahead of us. They read more than us. So an Indian will go through the act. He will look for all these loopholes. They're not necessarily loopholes, but they're incentives. Look for these incentives. Tender them to URA. Their taxes are reduced. He's reinvesting much more money. Then the Ugandan will think of avoiding taxes or just minding less. And then they say, the government is taking so much taxes. So the legal framework is really there, and it's in practice, and it is good. Though the problem we really have to address is forcing people to understand this. Because I've seen URA, we've tried to go out in several seminars, approaching people in different streets, hoods, villages, but when they hear about those are tax people, the first thing they'll say is, how much money did you give me when I was starting up this business? Why have you come here? Literally, we've come to tell you that you are exempted from bad debts. Get a TIN number, you'll get incentives. Government is giving money to people. Come and register to loans to help people. But when they hear you tax people, they run away. So how will you really? Because the laws, they don't want to read them. When we try to read them and bring them to them, they avoid us. They want to stone us. So it's quite tricky.
Thank you very much, Mayor Ahmada. For those that don't really understand who Ahmada is, he is the Tax Society President of the IUIU University campus. And Michael, any submission from his legal perspective?
I need to really build on the interest of the youth from what Ahmada has been submitting. We are SMEs.
Okay.
You are a youth and you want to start out strong. We know, without even quoting any statistics, SMEs struggle to survive the first 5 years. Actually, we lose many of those at that point. And the design of the policy regime and the administrator URA is to make sure that this kid survives the first 5 years. The mortality rate of SMEs at that time is very high. So that is why he was talking about the 20s, the 20s of the sections in the Income Tax Act, where you find all these cautions, okay? Scientific and training expenditure, startup costs, okay? There are certain losses. You see, there are certain losses that you're going to meet in the first years of your business. And so there is a provision to carry them forward. We have certain bad debts that you are allowed to do what? To write off, okay? Look into agriculture, farm works, okay? The initial allowance that I talked about and the industrial business depreciation. Actually, certain businesses that one may venture into may even qualify you to apply for an income tax exemption. You could be here and your business is shipping matoke to the guys in Abu Dhabi and that entire area. You get it? Exporting matoke. And your business is exporting the matoke to that area. Nothing else. And the requirements have been that if we see majority of your exports, I mean your business into export, then you will get this benefit of an income tax exemption. You apply for it. You get it? So the understanding of these is where we have a knowledge gap, one. And I've not seen a lot of interest in someone going into that business, understanding the taxation dynamics of that particular area. I'll give you an example. If one has to apply for an exemption in some of these income tax exemptions, you'll be asked, one, to give us a certificate of registration or incorporation for your business, okay? You'll be asked maybe to provide bank details, your bank account. You will be asked to give maybe copies of your previous returns filed. You'll be asked to provide maybe a license from where you're operating. So we know the person we are giving this exemption is situated in Ichiwatule, is situated in Nakawa, and the Nakawa division has, OKCCA has given this person a license to do what? To operate. The directors of that particular company that you're bringing need to show that they filed returns, okay? Or they are registered 14. You, as the operator of a business, prove to us that you run proper accounts. You keep your balance sheets and income statements. You provide all that to Uganda Revenue Authority, and your income tax exemption application will be approved. It will be looked through positively and you'll get your exemption. Now, those are the areas that a guy who boards a plane from wherever they are into Uganda comes and puts together. They will get their checklist. And okay, URA will need me to get a license. They go to KCCA, get it. URA will need me to get a director's TIN and SHI file accounts. They will take it. URA will need to see that I have proper books of accounts. They will take it. You get it? The URA will need to see that maybe I have these certificates. Maybe you need to go to get a certificate of origin, or I mean a certificate of from the Uganda Export Promotion Board. There are many things that may be. You get all the required. You come to URA, you want to apply for this exemption, you will get it. But most of our SME operators will not quickly look at that. Okay? From the point of registration, you want to apply for exemptions that are in agriculture. But as you're applying, you apply as a businessman. You get it?
Yeah.
You're in wholesale retail, but you're coming in here to apply for exemptions or incentives that are aligned to people and persons in agriculture. You see, when I look at your application, I will be asking myself, what is this person looking at now? The issue that he was pointing at on finding information is very critical. On the URA website, ura.go.ug, we have outlined for the past over 7 years, we have released and published brochures, incentive guides for SMEs to look through. An incentive guide is available in Uganda. We are working on one in Runyachitara. We already have one in Chinese. We have one in English. And we are working on all the other languages. So everyone in the SME sector, I mean in the SME area.
Shall we get one in Arabic?
In Arabic? Yes. It is coming. It is coming. So we have this and many more coming. We have sector guides. If you're going into manufacturing, wholesale, retail, hotel accommodation, tourism, just visit the URA website. All these are up there for you to download and understand.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Now, speaking of formalization, I think the best person to answer to formalizing a business is the only attorney we have in the building. And Ahmed, I'll ask you a question. Do you think the legal status of the businesses in Uganda here is incidental for its good? Because today, 3 in 5 SMEs in Uganda are not registered.
Well, that's a very easy one.
Okay.
Because the answer is in the question itself. Well, you asked if registration of a business is really incidental to its growth. You can't be called a business not until you're a business. You can't, when you go and register, you attain the corporate personality. Corporate personality in an ordinary language is the way you would see Rupareria owns which hotel? An example. Speak Resort. Speak Resort is Sudir's, but that doesn't mean when you're making an entrance, they say you're most welcome to Munini, then say you're most welcome to Sudir's. So when a business is registered, it attains corporate personality. It can sue, it can be sued, it can demand for things. So if government comes out and says, we are giving money to, for example, such and such to cooperative societies, there is no way you'll move out of your home and say, me, Michael, I need that money. Because it's clear, they say corporate society.
It's corporate.
So it's for corporate societies. So now, like Michael had earlier on highlighted, incentives are given. For example, the Bank of Uganda, UDB, they're helping out these SMEs. They will say, whichever SME is in need of money and it is willing to work and return the money and also follow the right procedures, come forward and we give you money. We'll see Ugandans going and saying, I, Miro, I want money, I want 100 million, I want 200 million. You're supposed to first attain that ownership, that name of yourself. You go to URSB, you register, you get all the TIN numbers, you do all the paperwork, you file it, then the business is approved. Then once it's approved, it's not till then that you're entitled to these incentives. But then if you don't do that, then you don't qualify to be a business. So the legal personality and registration process is very, very prudent. Actually, it's one of the very first steps.
Thank you very much, Miro. I told you we are in trouble today, so if you're out there and you do not have, your business is not formalized, he's coming for you. You don't have a business. That is what he's trying to tell you. If you're not registered and you think you have a business, if they don't have a business, what do they have?
It's them.
It's only you. I mean, you can't sue, you cannot be sued. But maybe, before we even go to our next panelist, Michael, do you mind telling us briefly, in about a minute, some of the relevances of formalizing a business? What are the few benefits one can pick up when they formalize a business?
Formalizing a business, one, it wins you opportunities. As an entity, you can tender for government business, that is one. 2, you will be, in the case of Uganda Revenue Authority, you come register, you will be liable to refunds where you need them. You'll be liable to tax clearance certificates in case you need them. You get it, to tender for business. A bank, when you go to a bank to apply for facilities like loans, they will need you to provide your registration and tax records, and you can only provide that if you have formalized through the process. Formalizing a business also, it's the way you get permission and licenses to operate where you're operating. It's where you find people are here and there, okay? Today the shop is here and then they are moving on to the next. It's not sustainable. So get licensed, formalize, register, have a name. It helps you to grow a market. And for me, I really don't know why if someone is really in business and you want to grow a market and you want to be known as Masembe in Mukono, Masembe in Mbale, and Masembe in Gulu. That is the bread I sell. And you choose to really second guess the idea that your identity should be clear to your market. So formalizing a business really defines who you are, the corporate status, the entity. It creates you. And so you build to get your identity known, and by doing that, you're cultivating your market. And that is my biggest interest. You're cultivating a market, you're generating more revenue, and the more you grow, the bigger you grow. For me, my fraction also grows as a taxman.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. Now, back to you, Ivan.
Yes, sir.
Ivan, do you have a business? From his perspective?
Yes, I do have.
By that I mean, is your business registered?
Yes, it is registered.
It is registered.
Not incorporated, but registered, but it's all a process.
It's all a process.
Yeah.
Do you have a team?
Yes, I do have. I do have.
Well, good to know the compliance levels within the room are high. Now, you talked about Cell Connect Uganda.
Yes, please.
You talked about Cell Connect thriving within COVID, where most businesses did not thrive. How have you managed to thrive in an e-commerce? I want you to maybe throw more light to the viewers that are watching there. Show them what you did right and what they did wrong, how you managed to persevere all those hardships in areas where they did not.
Oh, well, thank you very much for that question. Talking about thriving through COVID, this was a new era which everyone had to sit on board and think, what can we do to thrive through COVID-19? First of all, it was a blessing in disguise in that as the youth who are embracing the digital economy, it was an opportunity for us. COVID-19 was an opportunity for us to start up and to identify opportunities where we can do business. So e-commerce being our savior, me as Ivan starting up Cell Connect, I embraced the digital economy. I embraced WhatsApp, I embraced Facebook, I embraced Instagram, I embraced Twitter to make sure that I boost and I connect these people who need the market, who aren't able to have online presence, who aren't able to sell their products within because the country was totally locked up. So through bridging that connection, using the online presence existence I have, I was able to bring connection from the people who are in need of those products and to people who are selling them. They are stranded, they don't know how to sell. Downtown is locked, nobody is moving, but we are able to deliver to your doorstep. You could just give us an order and we connect to the person who is having his stock, but he doesn't know where can I sell. He's waiting for waiving of COVID-19 measures. So the best thing we embraced is online presence and the digital economy. This brought an eye-opener to most of the businesses that you can really perform, you can really drive those sales without physically meeting customers. So basically, I embraced the digital economy, basically the social network. These are social channels. That is Facebook, that is Instagram, that is WhatsApp, my own social network, my WhatsApp. So I used that measure as a way to thrive through the COVID-19 situation where we are in lockdown. So which I encourage every business right now to foresee and to think about embracing the digital economy to boost and develop their businesses and to thrive through hard situations, because hard situations never stop. You never know, COVID-25 is coming. Sorry for that. But I God forbid we don't need such situation, but an online presence is something we should embrace, because as people, we have learned through the COVID situation that I can be at home and I'd be like, Ivan, I needed a fridge, without me moving downtown, being in jam, struggling hard, but I can just go on my platform, order for a fridge and have it at the comfort of my home. So if you can adopt that in like a small startup you're doing, exploit the online presence to serve your customers. That will be a very good startup for you and an opportunity to drive yourself. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ivan. Now, before we go for a break, Ivan, we the Muslims, me and Ahmed, are fasting. And one of the reasons as to why we're doing is we've dedicated this fasting period to Uganda.
Oh, great.
We are not going to have COVID again.
Great. Obviously. God forbid it can come back.
Happen. But yes, me and Uganda Revenue Authority, we need to tax the digital economy. More areas of us to tax. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be off for a short break, and in 5 minutes we're going to be back. Thank you very much.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues, as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Welcome back, everyone. Once again, my name is Moses Male, and welcome back to the Tax Show. We have been dissecting issues on small and medium enterprises and how tax incentives are facilitating their trade. Now, straight to Michael Masembe from Uganda Revenue Authority. Michael, despite the efforts of government towards import substitution, with the promotion, of course, of Build Uganda and Build Uganda, Buy Uganda and Build Uganda, SMEs still find it hard to avoid importation. What incentives are available in the international trade that these SMEs could easily coop up?
Okay, thank you. Let us look at education, Let us look at hotel and accommodation. Let's look at wholesale retail. Let's look at manufacturing. Agriculture. You realize that within all those segments, and if you look at the trade volumes in customs, I would give it around 70% of all that is imported into this country. 70% goes untaxed. It's not taxed because it is either capital equipment to promote local production, or it is inputs like fertilizers, like raw materials, like whatever is going to be used in local production. So there is a lot. There are many incentives in there that are in this each sector that I have talked about has its own set of regime that enables it to thrive. Importing these heavy vehicles, import duty which should have been 25% is 10%. You get it? If you are into assembly of these electric televisions, bulbs, kettles, and so on, all those will come in at very, very subsidized regimes that enable you to assemble in here into the country and then sell on the local market, as opposed to importing an already set up TV. Yes. So these are all in there, and I cannot really break them down. Look into education. Education, I don't know if the investors in education have read the Florence Agreement that was signed in Italy, in that city of Florence, and later it was actually revised and made richer in Nairobi, just in our neighbors here. But it outlines for you every element of an education equipment that if it is to be used in schools in the education system, importing it has all those waivers that have been provided. So there are sectors, there are provisions that we have not really paid attention to in order to benefit from the incentives that are in there. But if you do not take on the incentive, you don't benefit from it. Okay? I will give you an example. If you're an NGO, the law exempts you from paying tax. But that exemption happens when you come to Uganda Revenue Authority and apply for the exemption. You get it? You have a right to the driver's permit or national ID, but you must go and apply for it. That is the same application to the incentives that we see here. And so I think all these sectors, as asked by you, are catered for. And it is just my guidance to the viewers and everyone who is on this show right now to visit the URA website, www.ura.go.ug, go under the A to Z tax topics and find the incentive regime that meets your sector. All our applications have been uploaded there for you to access and take benefit.
Michael, a case in, for example, is Cell Connect.
Yes.
The CEO or the MD is on our panel today.
Yes.
Any tax incentives that he can exploit?
Okay. Cell Connect, I would like, is he dealing in items, just usable, maybe household items?
His idea is he's connecting the buyer and the seller. So he's the middleman.
Yes. So among the items that our Cell Connect team may be delivering could be maybe items that are fresh foods, let me just say, and you import a refrigerated van. That is to transport these items and deliver them to clients as they are. That comes in without attracting you those costs. For you to set up that business, you had to go through a certain market analysis. You carried out maybe a study, a scientific study, like he outlined all these. And it's about you applying those in the context of your business. You could have trained your staff in the way you want your items to be delivered. You could have gone on to hire a guy to build for you a website or to build for you an app on which people can make orders. All those are costs that you are supposed to knock off. You could have applied for a license to operate this business. All those are costs that you will be able to knock off. And in that case, it is incentivization that comes to your business. Yes.
Thank you very much, Michael. Now, that one, General, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take you to finance. But I'll have to ask a question. You know, most of the SMEs that we have in this country are financing themselves through loans. But I would love to know, is government doing anything about SMEs as far as capital financing, capital investment is concerned?
I'm in the positive view. Government is really doing something about that. Government has really worked. It has really worked. An instance is, let me pick an example of two schemes. There is the Agricultural Credit Facility. It's run by Bank of Uganda. It began running right since 2009 up to now. That's about 13 years. They extend loans to agricultural-based people. For example, farmers, agro-processing industries, farms. They give loans to single individuals or single businesses up to 2.1 billion. However, if you really prove credible, they can extend to 5 billion. And their interest rates are low. It's 12%, a 12% interest, and it's up to 3 years. So if people are really serious about money and they really want to invest, these SMEs, they can go for that. Not only that, there is also that of UDB, Uganda Development Bank. It's basically aiming, actually this is so direct to the point, it's about women, youths, and SMEs. Once, for example, if you're applying for a loan in that perspective, in the line of women, they require you to prove that whatever business you're bringing, it's having directors composing about 50% who are women. Maybe youths, they might say you must have about 30% of youths. Once you prove those little requirements, of course registration, as we had earlier on talked, actually this is another evident point to show how important registration is. If you're not registered, you can't have these. And even though you are able to say, let us be dropping maybe emails of incentives to businesses, if you didn't register your business, then which email would they drop to? So the government is really helping. It has really done something about it.
All right. Thank you very much. Miro. Ivan, do you think tax incentives are doing a good thing, or do you think the government can employ another alternative?
Well, thank you. Regarding that point, tax incentives, I can say to a smaller extent, sorry, but a smaller extent, the effectiveness, the level of effectiveness of exploitation of those tax incentives is very low. Why I say that? There is a lot of information gap to the people who are to exploit those incentives. They are not aware about the incentives. So it's like you're giving a service and people don't know about your service. So I would feel that it could make more value when the enlightening camp can be done to help these people, poor people who are poor farmers who are in villages, or these just near here people in downtown. There are people who don't know that they have anything concerning incentives. Someone is dealing in machinery to be used in agriculture, but you find that if you try engaging him, I engage with most of them as I try to onboard them. He's totally blunt, not aware about which incentives can he exploit while importing machinery to be used in agriculture. He's not the very person who's going to do farming. But when you're importing machinery to be used in agriculture, there is a waive, there is an exemption they have to acquit, but they don't know about them. So I would feel that it could make more sense and very more effective if we do more of awareness campaigns to these very people that need to exploit those incentives. The effectiveness isn't being there just because there is a very big information gap. People are not enlightened more about the incentives. Thank you very much.
All right. Ivan, before we go in here, do you have any parting shots for the viewers that are watching?
The viewers who are watching, especially to the youth like me, I would really advise them that let's embrace the digital economy to build ourselves. You can start up something as small as you are. You can start just on your WhatsApp status. Instead of posting those videos saying doing what, why don't you get just bags there in town, post them on your status, start with 50k, and you can start with only 50k with one bag. When they take it, you go and get another one. Slowly, then you grow yourself. Start with your WhatsApp status, exploit your social network. If let's say you know Ivan is fond of selling watches, when you have been viewing watches on my status, possibly Mr. Mare will first think of me when he has a need for a watch. Be like, Ivan, I have been seeing you posting watches. Can I get a watch? How much is it? That will be your step first. So when you're at campus, exploit the best you can. If you can do juice, save and buy a blender. Start doing juice. Brand yourself. A business is just a process. You don't need capital, but you need just a mindset. So you can start small as you are and you build yourself. So let us exploit the digital economy so that we can start something for ourselves and we contribute to the economic growth. Thank you. That's a brief how I can give to
Mr. Attorney General.
Yes, please.
Do you have hopes of being an Attorney General?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What are your parting shots for the viewers that are watching?
Well, my parting shots, I would say, we really have to redevelop our love for reading. Because all things the government and URA do, but people are not interested in reading, because all these things are written. So if people are not interested in those, then they're all useless. Then it's better to scrap off the incentives, because we are missing out double. We are not getting revenue, and people are not utilizing the offer. So let's appreciate reading. It changes a lot.
All right. Well, a famous speaker, I don't even know who said it, but they said, if you want to hide anything from an African, you put it in writing. Now, that would mean they're hiding things from us. But for us that are a little bit educated, I think that wouldn't be a big challenge. To our very last speaker, dear Michael, any parting shots for the
thank you. My shot is...
before you even go to the parting shots,
yes.
Should we expect any tax incentives in the coming year, financial year? On SMEs, maybe?
Yes, I have seen an incentive being proposed on the exemption on insurance income on agriculture. If maybe one insures against a drought on his farm and the insurance firm makes a profit on that insurance, such insurance income should be exempted. More to encourage insurance firms to give out insurance cover to people who are in agriculture. And there are some that we may see that will be coming in other sectors, but that's one that has really caught my eye.
Okay.
Yes.
Then our panelist here is having a startup on Sell Connect, which is mainly e-commerce.
Yes.
And he didn't say, but I'm quite sure one of his problems is data. Is the government having anything to improve on that 12% that was inducted on data?
Okay, I haven't been keen on that. I think we just have a matter of weeks before we know what is being proposed in
He's
there.
whispering VPN on Facebook.
Yes.
Can we do something about it now?
Let's just watch the space, because the bills are public. The bills are public. We can look at it when it comes through, and yes, but even then, this is the time to make those other proposals that we can look at. What has not come to road, maybe this time we make sure it's looked at next year. The challenge we usually tend to have is during this heat, as the bills are coming into law, there is a lot of debate and scrutiny, and we forget about it, and we remember that scrutiny and the depth of discussion we had next year in May and April. And it's too late at that time to make these changes. So better with the momentum that we're picking this discussion now is sustained through July, August, as new bills are being drafted.
All right, Michael, in less than a minute,
yes.
Two parting shots for the viewers that are watching.
The incentives are not going to last forever. There are studies that are showing the many losses that we are incurring as a country as we are putting these cushions through incentives. So my encouragement to our viewers, the SMEs, is take it up while it lasts, because it's not going to be there forever. Okay? We are reducing, and there are efforts to cut down on most of these incentives as we try to focus more on local revenue. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Well, thank you very much, our dear viewers. These have been our panelists. But maybe to mention something, I would love to quote Dr. Muhumuza. Dr. Muhumuza, who is an economist at Makerere University. He said that tax incentives are of little benefit. And in his view, he says they're actually dragging the economy down. Michael has put it right. These tax incentives are not going to be here forever. They're going to be shifted, they're going to be removed, and before you know, we shall not have them. And that's where, so I would love to pick up from there. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever is watching there, you need to exploit these tax incentives, just like the normal you say lately, Kwetega. They call it Kwetega. Find ways of finding yourself to the portal. The portal is there. Go to the AZ Topics, www.ura.go.ura. Please visit the portal, check them, and see those topics. Then the other issue that I saw is, and this is mainly for Uganda Revenue Authority, is the knowledge gap. People don't really know about the tax incentives. Even those that know about them don't really understand them. Feedback is gotten, and it is going to be documented to deliver it to our bosses. Thank you very much. The Tag Show happens every last Wednesday of the month. Please just keep on touching. Our show airs on YouTube also. In case you've not watched any other episode, please visit our RA YouTube channel and you see it. Thank you very much. My name is Moses Male. I have been with Akampa Ivan. I've been with Miro Hamdan. I've been with Michael Masembe. And the URA Crew TV is Solomon Mukisa and Omario Bosco. Thank you very much. A lovely day.
Acquiring a tin is now easier than ever before with a new interface that is brief, simple, and cuts out all the excess fields from previous applications. All you need is your national ID or driver's license or passports and internet access, and you're good to go. No more waiting in long queues, as you can now acquire a tin instantly from wherever you are. Remember, it's free. Experience our new and improved modern interface that is user-friendly.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.